Alright, so this is a video of me explaining of what happens or what could happen during your Venus mahadasha, which is a 20-year time period. Now, this should be easy for me because I already experienced my Venus mahadasha, so I already know what could happen. But I still gonna look at my notes and stuff. So Venus is known to be a significator of vehicles, conveniences, forms of transportation, because to have your own form of transportation, it is a luxury. To have a car, a truck, a motorcycle, a boat, a plane, whatever, those are luxuries. So that falls under the jurisdiction of Venus. So you can deal with things of your car on a more simplified general basis, because you might just fucking deal with that, because not too many people own a goddamn boat or a jet and all that stuff. So you're more likely to maybe purchase a car during your Venus dasha, or maybe lose your car a lot, get into accidents and stuff. It just depends on how your Venus is placed and what houses of rule and sign and nakshatra is associated with. And like I said, you know, because I'm just speaking about a planet in general, and not speaking about a house or sign, nakshatra, only maybe like 25% of what I'm saying might apply to you. But like I said, themes of cars and forms of transportation, and you getting them or losing them or having trouble with them, could occur during your Venus dasha. Venus is associated with the private parts, your sexual organs, and hormonal, and deals with hormonal secretion. So it deals with your hormones and your sexual body parts. So therefore, naturally, you could say that you can have a lot of sex, or more prone to have sex during your Venus dasha. And or you're also susceptible to having sexually transmitted diseases, having an STD or whatever during your Venus dasha, depending on how your Venus is placed in your chart. Because, you know, that's sex. It requires your private parts. And by the exchange of fluids, you can infect one another and get a goddamn disease. So that's a possibility with Venus mahadasha. You could have you can more likely to contract a disease depending on how your Venus is placed in your chart. Another thing that could happen is that, you know, Venus is stated or associated or believed to be associated with like being devoted to something, to be feeling very passionate and devoted to something. And it sort of makes sense because Venus mutual sign is Libra. Libra originally rules the 7th house of marriage and relationships. 10 places when the 10th house is the 7th house. So the 7th house is seen as a house of business and fame and marriage and commitment. So to be really into your career, or to be a business person, you working for yourself and stuff, you have to be devoted to that. You have to be committed to that. To be in a marriage, to be in a serious union, you gotta be devoted and committed to that partner. So therefore, Venus is a significator of devotion, being devoted to something. So during your Venus mahadasha, you can really become devoted to someone or something. You might develop a passion. And of course, Venus rules and is associated with all the regular stereotypical stuff. Beauty products, skincare products, women, artistic stuff, and musician stuff. So you might become real artistic during this time. You might want to paint and draw and color, become poetic. You might want to take up a hobby and learn how to play an instrument or whatever. You might get more into your appearance. Not like Mars, because during my Mars video I said you might work out and build your body. But during the Venus period, you might beautify your body. So you might get like plastic surgery, which could also happen during your Mars period, but you might get plastic surgery to enhance your appearance during your Venus period. You might get into skincare products during this time. You might really get into your hair. You might want to try a different style, different cut, different routine or whatever with your hair. So you might get into that during your Venus period. Themes and issues with women can occur during the Venus mahadasha, since Venus deals with women and marriage and all that stuff. I don't want to say you could get married during your Venus period, but you could get married during your Venus period. But that will only happen with the right yogas, the right planetary combinations forming in your chart. You're not going to fall in love and get married or be in some serious relationship just because you're just running your Venus mahadasha. If your chart does not permit it, if your chart does not permit it, then it's not going to happen just because you're running your Venus dasha. You might run across more women and date more people, but they might not be serious. They might still just be traumatic and painful, and it might not lead to marriage. Your marriage and real partner might come doing a different planetary mahadasha based upon how planets fall from that planet being the ascendant. But I'm about to go double check my notes, make sure I didn't really miss nothing heavy before I go on with this video. But no, you didn't really miss nothing at all. Those are really the short and simple things that you can deal with and encounter during your Venus period. Love, sex, sexual diseases, becoming committed and devoted to something, and just dating. Love will be the highlight of your life. Artistic things will be the highlight of your life. Things that bring you comfort, luxury, pleasure, and things that are very convenient will be the highlight and theme of your Venus mahadasha. You might want to eat more elegant things. You might want to dress more nicely. You might want to get a nice car, a nice vehicle during this time period. But like I said, none of this stuff might not apply to you if, you know, you have, depending on the influences of your Venus in your chart, a lot of this might not really apply to you at all. So, therefore, I'm about to move on with how you would assess and examine what might happen to you in general during your Venus time period. So, as I've said in my previous videos before, you gotta look at your mahadasha planet through various different lagnas, various different ascendants. So, of course, one of the lagnas is dasha lagna. You make Venus the ascendant. You make the mahadasha planet that you're running, you make that the ascendant, which in this case of this video, it would be Venus. And you see where do planets fall in from Venus being your ascendant, and you'll deal with things in relation to that. And second thing you would like to do, look at where does Venus fall from your birth ascendant. Whatever house Venus is falling into from your birth ascendant, you'll deal with things and issues of that house too, and whatever houses that Venus rule. Then you want to look at things from the moon chart. See where does Venus fall from moon being your ascendant, and you'll deal with things and issues of that matter. And you can also look at things from your sun chart, making sun the ascendant, and see where does Venus fall at, and you can deal with things in relation to that house and what's aspected in conjunctions and all that stuff. By flipping the ascendant, the lagna around several times, you know, like that, you can make various different predictions and assumptions and statements about what can happen to you during the mahadasha of a planet. But yeah, that's essentially it for, you know, Venus. Even though Venus represents women, but for men and women, it could just represent the people that you date and attract romantically. Like I said, that would be, you know, a highlight of your life. But, you know, if your Venus is under a lot of malefic influences like Rahu and Ketu and Saturn and Mars, then you might deal with a lot of heartbreaks during that Venus period. You might deal with a lot of heartbreaks and traumas. And yeah, Venus is associated with devotion, so you might become devoted to the thing, to the house and sign and nakshatra that Venus is in during that period. But yeah, like I said, you gotta look at several divisional charts, and look at several divisional charts, see where does the Venus fall into, and you can just make predictions based upon those very different aspects and areas of your life. But that's all I have to say in regards to what you can expect can happen during the mahadasha of Venus and how to assess it. Hope this video gave you great quality and clarity on what can happen during the mahadasha of Venus in your chart. And see you when I make my next video.